Do you ever get to the end of a day and your brain just won't turn off? Like you spent all day dreaming of that time where you can sit down in the evening and just rest. And the second that time comes, your brain starts thinking of 100 different things at once. It's actually not uncommon. A lot of people who I find struggle with this are generally people who are relied on by others. And the reason that they struggle to switch off in the evenings or really at all is because they're always thinking ahead to the next thing that needs doing. If that's you, by the way, I know exactly how that feels. The problem that I think a lot of us have is that it affects us so much, our brain not switching off, because our rest is like confined to either the evenings when everybody else is in bed or that certain time in the day, like the drive to or from work, and it's the only time you get to yourself. And if your brain doesn't quiet down for that time, that's the only time you get in all day, and now it's gone. But it doesn't have to be the case. There are small, achievable resets within your day, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But if you want a PDF on that in the meantime, there is a link at the top of the description. The reason that a lot of us struggle to find time for ourselves or for our brain to switch off is simply because we care, right, about other people. We care about being that person, the one that's depended on, that's relied on. Maybe it's a choice, maybe it's not. Maybe we don't have a say in that, but we care deeply when we're being that person, and we care deeply about being that person. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or that you're broken. It largely means you've been carrying too much for too long without any real time to put any of it down. So rather than sit here and tell you to breathe or journal, what I want to do instead is go through a little thing I call the 1% reset. This is what the PDF is about, by the way. It's a simple PDF that just walks through small resets, micro resets that create a macro effect. And one of the things I found personally, as somebody that overthinks constantly, I mean, like, just for reference quickly, in school, I had like a mentor to help with work and social issues and stuff like that. And the mentor I had referred to me as Mr. What If at about 13 years old. And I never really kind of broke away from that tag. The resets, the small resets, work for me because you're not asking yourself to save all your rest for one time. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you take 5 small resets a day, right, and your brain doesn't shut off for 4 of them, that means one of those resets you actually got to have to yourself. One of the easiest ways I found of taking these resets was to look at time that already exists in my day. And before you switch off, before you go away, let me explain what I mean. Time that already exists in your day can be as simple as driving to and from work or to and from picking up the kids from school. It can be making a hot drink. It can be the 5 minutes before your kids or your partner is out of bed in the morning or doing the dishes. It doesn't have to be this grand gesture of like going out for an hour or going away for the weekend or an hour of journaling or all this other stuff. It doesn't need to be any of that. If you think about it like learning a skill, right, and the resets are not a skill, but just hear me out. If you're trying to learn a new skill, if you're trying to learn to play guitar, you don't walk into that first guitar lesson thinking you'll come out playing guitar like Dave Grohl when you're done. You're simply trying to learn your first couple of notes. And it's the same with this. If you go into the reset expecting to be transformed overnight, it's going to disappoint you and you're not going to keep up with it. The way I look at it, when I say small resets, big effect, right? Tiny resets, macro effect, is that the small resets, they compound in 2 really important ways. First way is that because you're taking small, manageable resets instead of trying to force yourself to take a big chunk of time at the end of the day, in the middle of the day, whenever it comes to you, you're giving your brain more chances to switch off for a small period of time. Because a lot of people, when they say my brain won't switch off, what they mean is I don't know how to just be me for that period of time. My nervous system doesn't know how to shut down long enough for me to rest properly before I have to go and be something to somebody again. And again, I struggle with that same problem, right? I'm a dad of 3, a carer. Obviously, I do the YouTube stuff as well. Other people depend on me outside of that, and trying to switch off is hard work. That's why I depend on these resets. The other way they compound is because they fit into your day. If you take one or your first few and you're like, okay, I make hot drinks. Okay, I drive to and from the school run, or I drive to and from work. I'll put some music on, or you know what I'm saying? Like get to work 5 minutes early and read a bit of a book, whatever it is. Then the more of these you take, once your brain acknowledges that they're safe and that your brain starts to switch off in that time, your own body, your own brain incentivizes itself and it looks for more of these naturally. And it doesn't create friction. They don't just, it's not like it's 5 minutes one day and then 3 hours the next week. These pockets of time, they exist throughout all of our days. And when we are the sort of person who is relied on by others, depended on by others, who our brain won't turn off, right? We block out these little things as just like they're perfunctory time where if you're an overthinker like me, you are just thinking ahead to the next task or planning the next thing or actively moving toward the next responsibility instead of using that time, which is unclaimed time that you could be using for yourself, to use it for yourself. And it's a hard mentality to get out of. It is. I'm not sitting here going, you should just listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. I'm saying I didn't have any other option. All the other advice failed me, or I failed it, was more like it felt like. I wasn't good enough at resting. I didn't, I wasn't good enough at breathing exercises or the journaling, whatever. It's hard to get out of that mindset of that rest isn't for me. My brain won't turn off because you're taking rest that isn't achievable if you're not used to taking it. I'll use one example of something that I'm pretty sure everybody here will have done at least once is washing dishes. Whether you're washing dishes at home or you're washing up at work, whatever it is, right? If you take that time as time for yourself or what I would call shared time, probably the easiest on ramp into this, right? Instead of sitting there or standing there, sorry, doing the dishes, right, in silence or whatever it might be, put on some music in the background or in a headphone or something like that, right? Because we don't have to learn to like music. There's already stuff we like. So we're taking something that's for us into the room with us. By doing that, having that music on or a podcast or an audio, but if there's somewhere to put your phone and you can see it from where you are, put on a bit of an episode of something. Put on a bit of a YouTube video, whatever it might be. Okay. One of these if you want to, one of these videos. Okay. And just have that playing in the background, right? It's background noise, so your brain's not overloading you. You're bringing something you like into the room with you, so you're not just overloaded by responsibility. And it counts as a reset. Provided you come out of that not feeling stressed to the nines, or you don't feel as tense, stressed, whatever it was, before you walked into that situation as you do when you came out. Or actually, one better than that, provided you don't feel worse, then it's worked. It's progress. Okay. You're not expected to feel different overnight. I certainly didn't. When I tell the story of my first reset to people who, I've been and spoken to community groups and different people about this stuff, and they go, "What was it like your first time?" And I'm like, I'll tell the story of what happened, and that's in another video. I'll link it below. But I get to the end and I go, and after the first reset, it was exactly the same. I felt no different at all because again, like we're playing guitar, you're not meant to be fantastic at it after the first time. You're not meant to feel transformed straight away. You know, if you want the reset PDF, like I say, it's linked below and it's free, by the way. The PDF itself is completely free. There's an email sign up sheet. The PDF gets sent out to you. That email sign up sheet is simply just so if any other free stuff I make, you get it straight away. You don't have to reapply or whatever, right? If there's stuff I think will help, I just send it to you for free. If it's something that's free value that I would get benefit from, that I think you will get benefit from, I'm not going to withhold that or make you pay for it. If you're signing up through the link below, you'll get those things for free in the future as well. None of this one email every week that's just 8 paragraphs of guff that, frankly, is about as interesting as the paint on your wall. It's only ever free value as and when I think you need it. Whatever you're feeling now, I hope you're feeling better than you were when you started watching this video. Because if you are, then this video has done its job. And like I say, if you want the PDF, it is linked below. But until the next one, my name is Daniel Mottram, and I can't wait to catch up with you in the next video.